Mic check 1, 2. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. But Bitcoin just cracked the $44,000 level. So I'm dropping this live. We're going to see it past 45, and I'm going to drop some citations that I have included in the new spreadsheet that I told you about, and of course the Discord that you can join, where I'll be dropping science, gems, alpha, whatever it is that you want to call it, in regards to the launch, what is potentially catalyzing the next cryptocurrency bull run. As you can clearly see, CNBC Crypto World reported that Bitcoin surging past the $44,000 mark. It's been the first time since April of 2022. The price of Bitcoin was last higher by more than 4% to $43,794.99 according to Coinmetrics, extending gains from the previous day. So if we take a look at the chart that we have cracked on TradingView, I got to get used to these new little fab icons that identify all this stuff. We don't talk about crypt that much on the channel. Nonetheless, you want to cover it. Absolutely. The level is at 43,927. So it's been maintaining strong north of 43 and 44 throughout this day. Now, we can take a look at the consecutive up days in the past. Pricing action that we can view right here on TradingView. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it dropped a little bit, so it went all the way up to around 41,000. Then it dropped to 28,000, which is a big drop, but then it sustained its level, and then it continued its run up all the way to the $63,000 mark. Then it dropped again. So there may be some pullback. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, 8 days in the green. Now, as I said before, the major catalyst that is pushing the surge of Bitcoin beyond 44 and what I am projecting 50K in less than 37 days, of course, the pending approval for the Bitcoin spot BTF, the Bitcoin spot ETF, where the investment of Bitcoin will be along the lines of the traditional financial rails. So it'll be a lot easier for people to purchase Bitcoin. Major financial analysts have projected that tens of billions, $70 billion, according to Gladsnode, will be pumped in liquidity into the Bitcoin eco space. And last time that, when gold was first included in an ETF, it rallied 250%. So it can potentially go up to double that amount with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a lot more scarce than gold nonetheless. It's a more scarce asset. And of course, now you've also got another potential catalyst where you're always seeing price surges around the previous halvings. The halving is coming along the lines of somewhere in the end of March, potentially early May or April in 2024 nonetheless. You want to stay on top of that, because what happens is with each halve, the amount of rewards that miners earn for harvesting Bitcoin actually drops by half. I explained that in yesterday's video. In 2009, the algorithm was rewarding 50 Bitcoin to miners. Then that dropped to 25 in 2012. In 2016, it dropped to 12.5. In 2020, it dropped to 6.25, and now it's going to drop to 3.125. That means that the amount of new supply of Bitcoin will be slashed in half. Now, for those of you who know supply and demand, I've covered this time and time again on this channel when I'm telling you to open your small businesses. You were not born a platinum blunt in your mouth. And I talk about when there are things in low supply, of course, the price goes up because more people are eager to buy it. So everything is an auction. And when people see that there's less of something, they're willing to pay more in order to get it. So we don't even have to call this video a $45,000 pump. It's gonna go through it pretty much, I think, without much resistance. And I'm not thinking that the pullback will be too dramatic. Now, feel free to drop your comment section below. Some people ask me whether it's a good time to hop on it. I'm seeing it as a catalyst and something that's going to trigger the next bull market. It's right here. Look, 43,905. Ethereum also cracked the $2,300 mark. And what happens is that Bitcoin typically takes the lead on these bull markets. So once Bitcoin starts gaining all of the momentum to set off the next bull market that lasts roughly 2 years, then you're going to start seeing altcoins where you can see monster gains. Not financial advice, simply what I am doing. Remember, look through the library of videos. We can go ahead and take a look, and you can see where I won some free crypto participating in the Gitcoin and Gitcoin. One of the mistakes that I made nonetheless last time is that I potentially should have sold Gitcoin. I say potential because you don't even know where it's going. And I sold it the other day. I actually swapped it for some Ethereum. So we can take a look right here. Let's see if we see Gitcoin grants, where these are typically, so 45,000. Let me see, Gitcoin. I don't know why the $45,000 pump appears. But you take a look. Is it $1,000 grants for everyone? I think this may be it. Spreadsheet links to how I went from. Anyway, if you take a look, you'll find it where I'm showing you the award of Gitcoin grants, which is about $1,000. Then I got crypto from Optimism in the amount of, at that time, about $1,000. Now it's like around $3,000 actually. It's actually gone up. And you can take a look. I'm not sure if you're able to see my MetaMask over here, but yeah, no, you can't see it while I'm streaming. Anyway, I'll go ahead and take a screenshot, and you can see where they gave me roughly $3,000, and I haven't put a lot into Bitcoin and into crypto markets, period. They typically gave me this stuff, so you want to pay attention to the space as much as possible. The BlackRock ETF filing reveals $100,000 in seed fund. That's just a drop in the bucket for the amount of money that all these analysts are projecting will go into Bitcoin. Because once it goes into an ETF, some people, they invest in ETFs because they pool their investments with a number of other investments. So potentially for retirement funds, for mutual funds, where if you're taking a loss on one asset, then you gain on another asset. So you're having this BTC in the traditional financial rails, and thus there'll be more access to it. Now, some people are saying it's not going to be a lot of money, but you got to think about it. Once it's easier to access, although it's pretty easy to access at this juncture, once it's easier to go ahead and access, then you're going to get a lot more retail investors getting involved. Now, this report right here, crypto funds attract largest weekly inflow in 2023 as Bitcoin short sellers capitulate coin shares. Ether funds enjoyed over $100 million of inflows in a 4-week positive run, marking a decisive turnaround in sentiment. Basically, the amount of money that people pumped into Ether increased during the Thanksgiving week. $100 million of inflow in a 4-week positive run. Digital asset funds attracted net inflows of $346 million last week, fueled by anticipation for a spot Bitcoin ETF, coin shares reported. So you're seeing all of this money. This is millions of dollars pumping into Bitcoin because people are starting to notice, because once again it goes into the ETF, it's more along the lines of a traditional asset class, and the best performing asset class, the second best performing asset class, actually Nvidia, I think enjoyed more of a gain this year, but overall, I believe it was over the past decade or so, the best performing asset class available. So it's pretty solid in terms of Bitcoin. If you want to jump on it, I'm gathering whatever I could put, and I'll throw into it right now. I'm not worried about the pullback. Some people are like, oh, I'm waiting for a pullback because it's going down. And look, this is optimism. This is optimism. I got this for free some time ago. So this is not even one of the hottest altcoins at this juncture, but there is some benefits because it increases the speed at which Ethereum processes its transactions. So they've even got a forecast. This thing jumped all the way to like 3 bones at one juncture, and I probably should have sold it at that time. You take a look right here. So I got this for free, and that's for participating in that Gitcoin grant. I'll drop it. Click the subscribe button and click the bell notification to stay on top of all these opportunities, because if you've been watching me for some time, I commend you and thank you so much for being on top of everything that's coming out the mouth. Anyway, you know that I donated to some Gitcoin grant campaigns. The Gitcoin grant campaigns, they're basically like Kickstarter campaigns where you pool money together from people that contribute using Ethereum and using all of these different cryptocurrencies, and then you get that money together. You could even drop one yourself the next time around. We're like at Gitcoin grant. Let's see where we're at. Gitcoin grants. What campaign we're on. They keep on dropping this throughout the year. Now, I thought that GTC would do well, but it didn't do well at all. But I mean, this time around, I'm going to, if I play this altcoin market, you don't have to play the altcoin market because it's very risky. You can go into lower cap coins where you got like a few $100 million in market cap, potentially even less if you want to go down that route. I want to focus on the AI space, the gaming space. They have the hottest narratives at this juncture. They just dropped a trailer for what is it called? What is it? GTA 6, if I'm not mistaken. And they thought that was going to create a pump. I believe it may have created a pump in a coin called Super, which was in the gaming space. So donate to the American Cancer Society. What am I looking at right here? Okay, thank you for supporting. So look, I was going to say 19, and we're actually at grants, Gitcoin grants, number 19. I didn't know we were up that high. So they dropped a few of them, and they should come up with number 20 shortly. So you can put up your own thing where you're educating people. You take a look at this channel and educate yourself as much on as many protocols as possible, and establish an educational platform right on a YouTube channel, like I told you, on the Broke Do This Now video, where you could put that together. You could pool money for this stuff. And even if you donate towards a campaign in which you utterly believe will contribute positively towards the space, then again, you could enjoy thousands of dollars in airdrops, which is basically crypto grants, free money. And it's a lot closer to free money than what you get applying for Hello Alice and the rest of these things, because I mean, all I had to do, I donated like about $100 worth of Ethereum to a couple of projects. I don't even remember what projects I donated to. It was like the least I could donate. I think I donated more in, well, not even donated, paid more in Ethereum gas fees. So you got a few good picks right now. So anyway, this OP, this thing, I could have potentially sold this back in, what, I think I held it before. Yeah, I held it definitely before February. But look, it went all the way to 3 bones. Some projections see OP going back to 3 bones because supposedly it's a solid protocol. I've got like, what, $3,000 in this stuff, and I got it just because I donated some Ethereum during a grant campaign. So you want to pay attention to this space. Now, Bitcoin, I'm seeing projections anywhere along the lines of $200,000, because what happens is that once the surge of Bitcoin is triggered, then the bull market goes on for roughly 2 years. So you're probably going to see it surge through the end of 2025, around the fall. So not financial advice, simply what I'm doing. I'll be holding whatever amount of Bitcoin. I don't even have a Bitcoin really. I've got in the stash, a couple of large, through that period, and hoping for somewhat, you know, potentially what, 8x, 4 into 20, 5x gain for that. But that's, I mean, honestly, you can make a lot more money elsewhere. I may pick off some of the earnings if it hits all-time highs around 60K or whatever too quickly, because it looks like it's going to get there pretty fast, and then take that to just start, and it's just gambling, basically, throwing a couple of hundred at maybe some cryptos, some altcoins that can go up 100x. You never know. Again, not financial advice. Don't follow what I'm doing if you're not willing to lose it, because once you start working with these altcoins now, based off all the reports that I showed you, the surge in Bitcoin is a lot more substantiated. So even if you take a look at that chart that I showed you some time ago on this video, I'm talking like it's last year, right? So you see when it first catapulted to, what was it, 38 grand or whatever, a lot of volume behind that. Now, what makes this run a bit suspect is that there's not as much volume this time around. Nonetheless, there may be less resistance because people have already seen Bitcoin skyrocket to 60 grand. So you may not need that much more volume. You got to remember, the trading volume includes also sells. So some people may have been taking profit on its way up, and thus that includes the sales of the Bitcoin. So it's fighting its way up. Nonetheless, where this may be with a lot less resistance and it's just cracking through all of these barriers right here. So it's potentially due for a pullback. You may want to wait for a pullback, but with some of these cryptocurrencies, you won't get a pullback. It'll just keep going up and keep going up. There are people that live and die for this stuff, really. And they get crazy. They get crazy FOMO. And at this juncture, the space has proven itself somewhat, as opposed to back in 2020 and 2021, right here, December 20, 2021, where you didn't see this amount of price action in the entire asset class. So now you got less volume because you probably got more sales of what's going on. So, more buys of what's going on. So yeah, drop me, let me know, Emma, how I can help you. Absolutely. Go ahead, let me know, shout me out, and feel free to jump on the Discord. I got the link in the video description.